Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. My back is in a bit of pain today, so you'll have to forgive me for that. Find something here real quick. Just give me a second. Is this like sending the wrong thing? Hello? Why is this thing bugged? I don't know. I think my thing is broken. I don't know what happened. Where did I put the stream at? Yeah, it might be, Christmas might be over or whatever, but like I said, I don't really have a winter thingy. Like, I was gonna get one made a while ago. My brother kind of fell through on it. So here's my unofficial looking tier list as it is every year. I should probably... I'll just turn it back down again. Not a big deal. Okay. Okay, Space. How are you? Okay, so let me see how I'm doing this. Move this off to the side a little bit. Over here, guys. No, why did it do that? Okay, well, it doesn't want me to shrink the image for some reason. So, question. Let's see. How many games do I have for this year? It got kind of slow in the later half of the year. I think it's a lo-fi mix of a Christmas tune and Pallet Town, as it is. But yes. Oh, my back hurts. Anywho. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23 games. So not very many compared to previous years. Should I handle these in order that I played them, or actually that probably is the easier thing to do here, I guess, shouldn't it be? I think the biggest month I had in terms of finishing games might have been July, maybe? I don't know. This feels like it's too small to have everything, but here we are. I didn't have time to play games this year after I worked at Walmart. I had little time. There's only 4 games for the last 3 months of the year. So... Go ahead. I mean, I guess that's fair. So I guess the easiest place to start then, I guess, is just January. So the first game I managed to finish this year was Yakuza 0. And for those, I haven't streamed the Yakuza series, and I don't know if I really have any plans to, just because I feel like major part of those games really is just playing them and experiencing them for the first time, because they're basically story beat 'em up games. So I'm like, not something I could really see playing on stream. But Yakuza 0 was... Sorry, I'm just fighting back pain a little bit. I had medicine, but it's just not working yet. It was really a lot better than I expected, because it was very, I thought it was going to be a very meme-heavy game because of how many memes are out about it. Like, I heard more about Yakuza, about its memes than anything else. But Yakuza 0 is a game that... Sorry. That I highly recommend anybody come here playing out. And I'm definitely... It seems like a high point to start off with already, but I'm probably going to put it in S. And that's mostly comes from a place of, like, I don't know, it was just really, really good. Like, I highly recommend, if anyone hasn't played them, to play them. Like, Yakuza 0 is really only $20 full price on Steam, and it goes on sale whenever Steam has their sales. I think in terms of, like, a story and, like, the fun gameplay that it has, I think, like, the story alone really puts it really high. Like, it's really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. It has got a good cast of characters. It's got 2 great twin protagonists. The gameplay is fun and addictive. And there's no shortage of, like, side quests and mini games if that's your cup of tea. Maybe I might move it down later, depending on how, like, things change on the list. But I feel confident that it's probably one of the best games I played this year, because it was really that good. Enough for me to basically buy the rest of the series. Sorry, my back is just really in pain right now. But, okay, sorry. The pain is very distracting, so I apologize for that. The next game I ended up playing in January, the only other one, was Yakuza Kiwami, otherwise known as Yakuza 1, like a remake. And while it is still, like, really, really good, I don't think it's as good as Yakuza 0, because it is just a remake of the first Yakuza game, and while it is done more in line of the style that 0 had restarted for the series, as far as I'm aware, I didn't think its story was as good, and I don't know, it wasn't as fun to play as Yakuza 0 was, when indirectly comparing the two. It's still a really good game, but I don't know if I would put it as highly. I'd probably put Yakuza Kiwami in A, because it's still very good. I think it's like so far what I've played is my second favorite of the Yakuza games, but I've only played 3, and they're all this year. So I guess spoilers for that. And that's it for Yakuza for a little while. So the next one we finished, on stream, was The Great Ace Attorney 2. Okay, I did separate them between, not just the Chronicles. Might be another A. And that's mostly because, like, it's not necessarily the best Phoenix Wright style game I've ever played, but it is really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. You guys were there for the whole thing when the joke was canon. I think my biggest complaint with it is the fact that the series just kind of ended on the second one. Like, it had such potential to grow and really be its own thing, and it just didn't go past 2 entries. And I'm like, my biggest qualm is that it felt like it sped through to wrap up an entire overarching story in a very small amount of time. But, like, I didn't dislike it. Like, it was a really good Phoenix Wright style game on the Ace Attorney games. I keep saying Phoenix Wright game. Say Ace Attorney. That's the series. It's easier that way. I don't have a whole lot else to say about it, I guess. I just, like, it was good. I really enjoyed it. But it just wasn't, like, the best that I've played of it. But it's still, like, very good. Also, these guys going in the tier list are not in any particular order. They're just going in the list. So it's not like, oh, Yakuza was better than Great Ace Attorney, for example. It's like, I'm not necessarily putting these games in a sense head-to-head. I'm just ranking them individually on their own merits. Because depending on which mood I'm in, like, Ace Attorney might be more interesting to me than Yakuza. But, like, so far these are all really heavily story-based games. Sorry. Looks like the rest of the month was very Pokemon-centric for me, with 3 back-to-back Pokemon titles. This has been the major year of me trying to replay the Pokemon series to catch up on all my missing Pokemon and stuff. So, this year, the first one I finished was Pokemon Ultra Sun, and that's actually a difficult one to rank, if I'm being honest, just because of how the Pokemon games feel like they have gone all over the place. Ultra Sun had a lot of fun with it, and it's definitely not the lowest and worst of the 3DS games. That probably goes to X and Y for a lot of reasons. But it wasn't bad. Like, it had a lot of good parts to it. You know what? A coworker of mine gets nosebleeds in this weather too. He was talking about. Oh god, it hurts to lean my back too far forward, which I barely did at all. It's like it's connected to my neck. I think I might put Ultra Sun maybe in C. And for me, saying that it's probably one of the better of the 3DS games really just shows how much I don't really care for the 3DS Pokemon games too much. It's just like, I don't know. Like, I liked elements of their stories and stuff like that, and I think, again, the Ultra game, like the Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon are both, like, really good. But, and for what they were, but they are a pain to replay. Like, Ultra Sun's a bigger pain to replay. You would think for a game that came out literally a year after Sun and Moon, it wouldn't have been as tutorial heavy, but it's even worse than the first one. Anyway, Pokemon XD. Oh, See, how do I rank this? Because I feel like in terms of Pokemon games, it's like in the top, like the top for me. Like I can easily give Pokemon XD an S, like as a Pokemon game. But as an overall game, I don't really know. You know what? Maybe I'll just stick with that initial thought and just put Pokemon XD in the S tier. Because I really do enjoy Pokemon XD. Like, I have a lot of sentimental attachment to Gen 3, like, a lot of it. And, like, that was easily the generation I played the most, I knew the most. I was so locked in when I was younger on Gen 3. That's when I started learning all the complex battle strategies and think, well, not complex, but like, you know, I started learning about all different kinds of more advanced battle strategies than just mashing A on the type matchup to win type of thing, like actually taking into account. And as you guys saw from the stream of the Ore Coliseum, it had some of the hardest in-game like Pokemon challenges in the games. Like, I think overall probably battle towers and stuff are harder just because like the way those are structured is really an endurance match. It's just like, oh, you missed one mistake, boom, you're all the way back. The Ore Coliseum has the at least the decency that only sets you back up to 4 matches at a time. If you lose and it's pretty easy to get back, then it's literally just like a strategy of how to figure out how to get past this certain combination of things. But excuse me. I think overall the individual battles were more challenging than what you would get out of the battle towers and stuff like that. So I think for its time, Gen 3's Ore Coliseum was probably the pinnacle of single player difficulty in those games. I think. But either way, I don't know. I just really vibed with Pokemon XD, like in terms of a gameplay. It was just really good and well executed. I just really enjoyed XD a lot. It's got a lot of personality. It's got fantastic music. It's got like really, I enjoy the Shadow Pokemon mechanic and things like that. The staff in the Pokemon games, like the cast, is way more memorable and has more of an impact than I feel like most Pokemon games have, because most Pokemon games' cast is like that actively involves itself in the story is kind of minimal depending on which Pokemon game it is. There's like a small group and then that's about it. And yes, of course, the man Mirror B made his return, so that's pretty good. Jeez. Anyway, so yeah, like you guys know how much I like XD. For those of you that are there for the streams. Next one is Pokemon Black, and another high tier Pokemon game in my opinion. Pokemon Black, right up in there, in the top echelons of Pokemon games. I think in some elements, I think for sure in terms of like the handheld games, it is definitely the pinnacle of it, but I don't know if I would say it's my overall favorite. I think I'd probably put Pokemon Black, and if Black 2 had been finished this year as well, probably both of them in A. But mostly the difference between Black and XD for me is really just kind of personal preferences and what I like in Pokemon games a little bit more. And like, I don't know, they're both stellar Pokemon games, fantastic entries. I feel like if I had to rank Pokemon games individually, it'd be a little more of an interesting thing. Not much else to say about that. I counted since the year was kind of slim, I counted DLCs I played, especially DLCs that were like more than like 10 hours, that were actual game length, as actual games to have something to talk about. So the next entry is Xenoblade Chronicles, the DLC for 3DS. Sorry, not 3DS. For Xenoblade Chronicles is 3 DLC is what I meant to say there. because that was a sentence that was not correct. And I don't think anyone would be surprised for me to put it in S. I mean, you guys were there. It's peak. It's a fantastic conclusion to a fantastic trilogy of games. I really loved it. I don't know if I would say I loved it as my favorite entry in the series or anything like that. Like, it really is built on the backbone of the best that 1, 2, and 3 had to offer. So but mostly it seemed like it was heavier on 1's backbones, but still really, really good. Like, Xenoblade does not drop out of S very easily. And with such a great short-term cast like Rex, Shulk, Matthew, they're all really good characters. If anything, maybe some characters like Niall, Glimmer, and Nail could have gotten a little more character development and time. They could have been even better, but they did good with what time they had on the sun. Gravity Rush is the next one on here. I forgot I had played that this year. That was so long ago. That is a game, if you haven't played it, it's a very interesting game, I think. If you haven't played it, it's kind of a game where you play as the character named Kat, and she has gravity powers, and she has to basically save this whole town from being pulled into a black hole or something by bringing the parts of the town back from, like, the void, essentially, using her gravity powers or something. It's kind of weird. Sorry. But it's a really fun game. Like, I don't know if I would consider it a platformer, but I also don't know if I would consider it an action game. It's kind of like a little bit of both of those, but not. It's kind of mostly its own thing. And I think I'll probably put it in B. Which I feel like, in my sense, it's because I'm looking at C as I may not even need an F tier, to be honest with you. But I wanted to have like C be like the literal middle ground, and then have 3 ranks above and below. So I want to say Gravity Rush is above average. But it's fun. It's got a good quirkiness to it. Like, Kat's a great protagonist. She really should have more games than just 2. But I don't know if it's like something I would say is absolutely amazing. But it is just a solid, fun game and really enjoyable. And if you have the chance to play it, I would try it out. It's definitely a fun experience. It's a recommend for sure if you have never played it. Next one is Harvestella. Finished that in March. We finished a couple of things in March. That was a March and February. Did a lot of streaming that time. I got through a lot of big games then. Excuse me. Harvestella is another weirdly hard one to rank. But maybe B. I'm not sure. It's pretty close and comparable to being in the A rank. It's not super far off from it, but I don't know if I liked it enough to say it was A rank. Like, it was a pretty solid RPG when it was being an RPG, but kind of a mediocre farming game as well. Like, the farming was really just kind of there as, like, it felt more like a lore building thing to flesh out a somewhat short RPG and to give it a different kind of structure to it. I don't know. Like, I liked the overall package, and I did enjoy it, but it's also just one of those things. It had both Shulk and Rex. It did. It happened. Xenoblade was inside. Visually, it was amazing. I really liked the art style. Gameplay was good, but it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't a blast to play, but it was a really fun diversion from the normal farming game formula, or even the diversion from the Rune Factory formula. But I feel like, and its story was good. I liked its story. It had a very engaging story with I think a few twists I didn't see coming. I can't remember honestly. But at the same time, like, it wasn't like absolutely fantastic. But it was something fresh, new, and original-ish. It just does. I don't think it was a perfected deviation to form, if that makes sense. It was something new from the farming simulator formula, but it wasn't something I would say is perfected better than either one of them. Like, I feel like it could have been way better if they put more effort into either aspect of it. But I don't know. Like, it just felt like it needed a little more time in the oven, I think, to really shine as like a peak game. But it was still a very good one, and the one I would recommend. I honestly could probably recommend anything above the C tier. Like, most things that'll probably be in C really just probably depend on what you're into. Like, I could probably, so far, it's just Ultra Sun, and I could recommend it, but I also know it's divisive. Start my back. Next game, it was in May. We're already up to May now, just to give you an idea. I didn't play it. I didn't finish a thing in April. That's sad. But I know what I was doing most of April, and I think we'll remember what it was when I get there. It's a slow year. Is AI the Somnium Files 2, and that is a hard game to. In April we had depression. Somnium Files 2 is a hard game to talk about because it is a trippy game. Like, if you are into visual novel and point-and-click adventure game style games like the Ace Attorney series, but something that you want something more out of it, either more engaging or more intricate or in-depth or something, I don't really know how the great way to describe it, but like Somnium Files is probably for you because it has a lot more effort into its singular story as opposed to Ace Attorney, where it's like a bunch of cases that sometimes get tied up together as a cohesive package, but not always. Like, the Great Ace Attorney is an outlier for that, because most of the time the Ace Attorney games are like a series of cases, and the story that ties them together is how the characters react to said cases that continue to be in case to case. Let's say, like, Phoenix and Edgeworth's relationship with each other is the major story part of Ace Attorney 1, because that's the one thing that remains constant between both games, is the progression of their character. So whereas Somnium Files feels like a bunch of different cases, but they are also the same case. They're just done in a different way. It's a very unique way of how you go about it. The gameplay is similar, other than not having really any court sections. It's like if you're playing a game that's mostly a better and advanced version of the investigation parts of Ace Attorney, or maybe like Ace Attorney Investigations in a sense. And instead of like having court cases, you dive into someone's psyche and try to learn the truth that way. So number 2 is like number 1 in that way, but it tells a completely different story, has a different type of twist, but reuses characters in a good way. But how do I put it? I don't remember where I ranked the first one on one of these lists. You're just kind of confused about it? That's fair. Ice might be able to explain it a little better. He played the first one, I think. I don't know if he played the second one. I think he owns it. God, this is difficult. Welcome back, Ramirez. Oh. Well, it's just more of Xenoblade 3, Ramirez, so it's kind of hard for it to fall out of there. I think I'll put it in A. Like, I feel like, again, it's another thing that could go between A and B. I will say, if you're not a fan of like in attempts like to lighten the mood, like in a sense light sexual humor, it may some of the jokes, especially in the first one, will probably wear through your patience. But beyond that, weird fan servicey jokes sometimes. Like the second one doesn't have as many, but like they still exist. And for some people, that's just not their cup of tea. They can't take the game seriously when it drops weird tone changing jokes like that. But that's another thing to take us torch out for. It's a very much mature game. It doesn't have nudity in it, but it does have mature themes. And if that's not something you think you can handle, then just keep that in mind if you ever consider playing either of them. But they are very good. They're very good stories. They're just not the I don't know. I'm not gonna sit around here and talk about a game you guys didn't watch me play the whole day. So next up is Zelda Spirit Tracks, and it's a Zelda game. Zelda game it's a good Zelda game. I don't know if I would say it's a fantastic Zelda game, but it's a Zelda game, and for that I already know it's gonna do pretty well. I feel like putting it in B is fair. And I think I mostly sits in B just because, I did, and I got annoyed at it as a child as well, so I knew it was coming. Like it's got some good personality to it. It's got good graphics for what it was on the DS. Controls are a little wonky. I've never been a big fan of their controls, but like the positives help outweigh the negatives. I could see it being in the middle of the road as well, but like it's got such good personality and characters for what it does do right that it's really good. The next one, I put it on here because again, we are short on options for this year, and I want to go over everything that I played that I would consider a game, which is the ROM hack we played, Zelda The Ultimate Trial. And oh boy, that one was a lot of fun for an Ocarina of Majora's Mask fan like myself. The Ultimate Trial was such a good ROM hack. Like, it's probably the best ROM hack I've ever played. Not that I've played a whole bunch of ROM hacks, but it was super good. I think it's definitely good enough to go in S. Sorry, it's my back again. The story is so sad, but worth it for sure. That is a great way to sum it up easily. But the gameplay is just really fun because it really takes what Ocarina of Time already had. It really pushes it more through a unique combat experience, making it a dungeon crawling roguelike is so good. And honestly, if it had the ability to randomize like the dungeons and stuff like that, like in a modern roguelite, it'd probably be even more interesting and engaging. But it does have a lot of good content in there, enough to, I would say, it's depending on how much you play, it's about a 10 to 25 hour game, maybe 10 to 20, maybe 25 is too much. I guess it depends on how much you suck at it. And I probably could have done better if I was better adapted to Ocarina of Time. It's been a while. Good timing of the music, by the way. But it was just so good. Like, I wish it I wish it had more story elements into it, and it is very short, but for the time I spent there, it was a fantastic game. Next up, though, we go into July, which is probably the most packed month of the year outside of February. So a lot of stuff happened in July. We're starting with Octopath Traveler 2, where... Sorry, that really hurts. It is another... It's getting a little crowded in S this year, but honestly, I absolutely loved Octopath Traveler. wasn't a perfect game. We had characters like Hikari Noa and weird story elements like Agniesz's, but like those low points did not sour the overall experience for me. And Octopath 2 was a fantastic RPG, and I'm glad I had played it. It took a long time to play because I'm pretty sure we started it in March and I didn't finish it until July. So it was a struggle to get through that game in terms of quickness, but it was fun and I really liked it. Next up is Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. And despite an absolutely rage-inducing final 3 secret levels, the game was very much good. Oswald, are you sure? I may take I'll take your Oswald and I'll raise you 1 Particio. I think Particio might be the best character of that cast. I don't remember my Octopath tier list, but Oswald was a fantastic protagonist, but Particio puts up one hell of a fight. But back to Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong, it was good. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is a very good game at what it is, and a very good execution of what it is. So for me, probably just gonna go and B. Like, it wasn't a bad game or anything at all. It was a good game, but like, I don't think I would say it was a great or fantastic game. It was just a solid experience that if you are a Donkey Kong fan or a side-scrolling platformer fan would probably really enjoy, because I enjoyed it. It was good. It was fun. Except the last 3 levels. I hated the last 3 levels. They were horrible. They can die in a fire. Especially the second one. God, I feel like someone's stabbing me in the back. Alright. Pokemon Platinum. Okay, that's the next one. I'd finished that Platinum playthrough on my personal cartridge. This is not the stream playthrough of it, just FYI. So that means Platinum will probably be on this list again next year, whenever I get around to finishing Platinum on stream. It has been since probably October that I played it. Might even be September. I don't remember. But it's been a little bit since we played that on stream. So, yeah, there's that. But, this is difficult. Do I put Platinum at the level of Ultra Sun? Or... Oh, that's right! That's right! The reset of time. I think I already fixed that off stream, but I don't remember. Ugh, Cassie ruined everything. Cassie versus Goku. Is it a big thing of family? No. You're not. You're the criteria though. I feel like Spirit Tracks was a good Zelda game, but just not one of my favorites. I think the low points of being a DS game brings it down, because the characters and personality of it, as well as the music, the art style, bring it up as high as it is. I'm saying, like, compare the positives and the negatives. Like, I think Spirit Tracks staying in the upper half is very good. My thoughts on Tropical Freeze: it was a good game. It wasn't a great or a fantastic game, but I think it did exactly what it was trying to do, and it did it really well. But it's not like one of those games I would consider a masterpiece, just because it just felt... But that's what happens with side-scrollers anyway. They don't feel like massive must-plays or anything like that, but they're still fun. They're not on the same level that other games I've played are. I'm gonna loop this video. I thought the video ended. So I wanted to be fair with that. Anyway, I don't really know where to put Platinum. This is a difficult thing. See, now if this was Diamond and Pearl, probably would be a D easily. Maybe over here in C. This is barely B. Look at what I have in S rank, though, I Slate. Octopath and Xenoblade are both up in the S tier, so I mean, I can't, I can't fit everything in the S tier. I have to separate. I have to find some reason to be mad. But like, Platinum's problems for me is most problems that happen with Gen 4 is that like Platinum is easily the definitive version of Gen 4, like better than Diamond, better than Pearl, better than Brilliant and Shining Diamond and Pearl. But like, I don't know. I think I have just general problems with Gen 4 just in terms of, I don't know, like I wasn't crazy about the story of Gen 4. It had some good moments, it had some great music, and it introduced a lot of interesting mechanics for the game, for the series as a whole, but like, I don't know, it's not a game I remember it more fondly than I actually playing it. When I played it again, I'm just like, I don't know, it just feels kind of weird. Like, there's something about it, about Gen 4 or Sinnoh or whatever that I don't vibe with as much as other Pokemon games. Not to say Gen 4 as a whole is bad, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Sinnoh, despite the fact it has such a huge ancient history type of vibe to it, which is usually my jam in video games, but Pokemon Platinum doesn't, the Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum just don't do it in a fun way. Sora's over here telling me I'm yapping. I don't know, but it's also not horrible. It's just, I don't know, it's a weaker line in Pokemon for me, but better than, some other alternatives. It's a weird mix of the classic parts of it, keeping it above, but the modern parts pulling it down. It's weird how it works. Last one for July was Yakuza 2 Kiwami, or Yakuza Kiwami 2. I'm not exactly sure how the exact name of it goes. Let's see. I'm trying to remember my exact thoughts on it. It's more of Yakuza, so it's like it's the same kind of gameplay, it's the same kind of grind. It's so the thing that sets Kiwami 2 apart from Kiwami 1 or Yakuza 0 really just mostly comes down to the story, and it's like I don't know. It's like some of the minigame side quests were more fun in 2 than base Kiwami. A few of those plot twists were good in Kiwami 2 as opposed to Kiwami 1, but like, I don't know. It's like I split hairs on it. I think I put it like, I think its story overall is a little bit not worse than 1, but like not as interesting as 1, and definitely not as good as 2. But I still think that it's good enough to be in A, but I think it was kind of on the verge of going into B. It was very close. Excuse me. Now here comes a fun one. The next one, because okay, so we go from July, we skip August and go straight into September, because this is just my life this year. But after skipping August, we're not skipping any more months this year, but there's not much in some of these months because of a lot of life things. Kid Icarus Uprising is next to rank, and this might be one of the hardest ones in the list to rank because of so many different variables. There's so many variables here that I don't know what to go on. If I was to remove all of my negative gripes with the game, which is kind of hard because it's a full package deal. The writing and everything really puts it in A, but I can't just remove the entire package of it. And it's like the controls for sure for me would probably, if it was based on the controls, would probably put it down in like E. Like the controls were absolutely horrendous for me. I know that's not a everyone thing. That might even be a skill issue thing. I tried changing the controls. I changed the controls at least 3 times throughout the playthrough. Like the first stream was one set, and then I tried like 2 different ones in the second stream, and I stuck with whatever one was the most comfortable slightly more in the second one. But like I just did not vibe with the controls no matter how I was playing the game. It just didn't feel right. And the controls really, really hurt the game, but I don't really know. I think I kind of held it in my hands while I played with my like elbows or wrists on the table. I'm not exactly sure. I don't really remember now. I had to hold it in a certain way so that way I could not, wouldn't come unplugged or anything like that. Maybe maybe it's also partially the fact that maybe I'm like a lefty, so using things like the stylus in my right hand maybe as constant controlling, maybe that also affects it. Maybe because I'm using the type of DS I was using, I didn't really have options to like hit the triggers and stuff if I wasn't holding it, because like you can kind of see. Sorry, my back is just so much pain. That they're pretty small, thin buttons, so it's really difficult to use the triggers while it's sitting flat down because my fingers are so big. So it's really, really hard to grip the whole thing. It's a very strange and unorthodox experience. But I also don't think it's fair. If I was to take the math thing, if I do a rank and minus the control rank, that puts it in like C or something. But that's not. I don't feel like the controls itself should determine the entirety of the playthrough. So I feel like the writing and the story and whatever I think the writing and story puts it in A. Like if I put it in different things, like A comes from the stories, the writing, the characterization. I wouldn't call it a perfect story or a perfect cast. No, it is not kind to us in that regard. The thing is, though, I hold the stylus in my right hand, but because I have to, because the control stick's in the left, so it doesn't feel as intuitive. But maybe it's also because, like, I've also used the stylus with my right hand, but, like, because that's how the controls of these games are usually designed around. So it's not very kind in that regard. But, in terms of the characterization and writing, A. In terms of the gameplay, I could see it being a B, maybe a C at the worst. And like I said, the control is probably all the way down in E for me personally. But I think meeting in like the middle, I think putting it definitely in the high parts of B is good overall. Because if I judged every game, I could judge every game based on its story and have a completely different, a different tier list altogether. Like this list would be entirely different if I judged it only on like the story or writing elements of it, and Icarus would probably be A or S in that way. I guess I won't unfollow for now. But, like, for me, B is still, in my opinion, recommended plays for games if you are into that kind of, like, story writing or gameplay or whatever. Hello. back is really, really hurting. Next was Persona 5 Tactica. That is a Persona game. That is for sure. But I'm not actually for sure it's a Persona game, because it has elements of a Fire Emblem game in it, in a sense. The tactical positioning and whatnot. It's like freaking Persona meets the Rabbids in a sense. But I don't really know where to put Tactica, really. I don't know if I would say if it was mid enough to be in the literal mid tier that is C, because the good elements of Tactica really push it up there. I really did like its story. The gameplay was fine. It was like Rabbids, essentially, and I didn't mind that. Not the Christmas Lo-Fi, we've looped back around. I didn't have a long enough list. Sorry. Sorry. It's really hard to ignore that pain. It's really difficult. I think I feel like B tier is acceptable, because I don't know. I don't really. It doesn't feel bad enough to just be considered mid, but it's not. I don't think it's good enough to be really really up there with the other two Persona 5 games, like Royal and Strikers. Like Royal and Strikers do a lot more things better than Persona 5 Tactica. Though I will say one thing that Tactica does say better than Strikers is has a better like story arc. Like, it has a more interesting story, and I like different changes in it. I just the gameplay for it, while not bad, it just wasn't as fun to play as Strikers or vanilla Persona. So in terms of gameplay, it's just not as fun as the other two, but it's not a gameplay style I don't enjoy. So that is the difficulty of it, because it's not easy to rank it. Because the good parts of it keep it from being in mid tier. So it's very close to being mid tier. If it wasn't for the fact that I really enjoyed the story, which is subjective, it would definitely be in the C tier, because it's not bad, but it's not like a must-play, in my opinion, for terms of its gameplay. Unless you really like tactical style gameplay, but even then, there's better ones out there. The last thing in September is the Elden Ring DLC, The Shadow of the Erd Tree. And it looks like I don't feel like I need to argue too much about it, that I'm gonna put it... Dude, S tier is so freaking stacked. Elden Ring in the year I finished it was S tier. The DLC is just more of that goodness. I really, really enjoy Elden Ring. It's really fun. The DLC was a very fun experience for me. Though story-wise, kind of weak. So, if it was a story ranking thing, it wouldn't be very high. But, I don't know. I don't really know how much else to say about it. Like, Elden Ring is like, people know what Elden Ring is. But I also don't want to spoil too much about it, because I kind of plan on playing it on stream at some point, because I think it'd be fun. So, I don't want to... Especially for anyone who hasn't really seen it or knows much about it, it's a very fun experience, I think, once you can get good. But yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. Basically, just know that it's good. I also feel like it's really hard for DLC to rank worse or better than the initial game itself, at least in my eyes, because Xeno's DLC and Elden Ring's DLC are both very good games that are right up there with their base game, in my opinion. Though I will say, unlike Xenoblade 3, you definitely need to play the base game either first or up to a certain part to enjoy the DLC. It is not a standalone thing you can enjoy separately. It goes hand in hand with the main game. So it is not one of those types of DLCs where you can just buy it and play it before even playing the base game. That's not how it works. So it really is more of a continuation. This next one is an interesting one. It's the only game I quote-unquote beat in October. And I don't really know how to address it because it is The Walking Dead Season 1 from Telltale Games. So, basically a slightly interactive video game TV show, in a sense. If you've never played a Telltale game before, there's not much gameplay to them. You're just kind of experiencing a story and making choices that affect certain things. Why didn't I... Oh, I don't know. I just kind of didn't really think about it. It was during the month when my sister was getting married. We had a guest that came over for the wedding. He stayed for a little while. We played it while he was here because he really wanted us to play it. So technically, he played it, but we as a group all made the collective choices. So I consider the game played by me as much of a capacity that it would have been if I hadn't been holding the controller anyway. So... yeah, not that big of a deal. But the problem is, since there really is no gameplay, hardly, it's essentially boils down to just the story, which makes it a little easier to rank it in that regards. I'm not... Hold on. The cat is trying to claw the door. Chair-kun. Distract him. What are you doing? You're not damage my door. I'll let you out. Bye-bye. Sorry, please forgive me for my back pain. That Gengar's T-pose. Wait, oh, you can see him. I think the story was very good. Like, I think some elements of the story were like, but that's just the world thing of not explaining even how the whole zombie thing broke out. And if you haven't played it or seen it, I don't really feel like I want to talk about it because that's literally the whole thing. But I would say that its story is good and that I think it goes in the A tier. The Wolf Among Us. I heard that was good, actually. I've seen both Batman ones, but it's been long enough that I could probably play them myself again and not remember them. You know, it's nice to see that even though I didn't play much this year, I played some goated games. This means, though, now we're in November, and there's only 3 games left. And it doesn't look like anything is going to dip below C this year, so good on me for having good game choices this year. Next is Pokemon Soul Silver. I think I might want to put it maybe in A. Because while I wasn't a big fan of normal Gen 4, I felt like the Heart Gold and Soul Silver games were, before Gen 5, definitely the pinnacle of the handheld game experience, I think. It had really good late game challenges. It had the great battle frontier of Platinum. It was just it was a better execution of Gold and Silver, in my opinion. Expanded on the right things. It had some good, fun events for it. I don't know. It just feels like a solid, like a solid experience. I think, in terms of Pokemon games, like has a lot of things that people like about it. Where I also like Next in November was Dark Souls 1. And I don't know. I don't really know where Islands so the speedrunner route and Heart Gold. Yeah, Swirl Islands was not fun. Where does Dark Souls go? I'm half tempted to put it in C, but I think I enjoyed it too much to be C. But I didn't enjoy it enough like Elden Ring as S. This might be another B tier, honestly. I think I can confidently enough say Dark Souls 1 is at least B, I think. It's not mid enough to be C. It kind of dances that edge of like being in C. It gets very close to being C in some regards, but it's the fun factor is what keeps it in B for me. If Dark Souls 1 was just the way it was normally and didn't have a lot of fun to it, then it probably would definitely be in C, just because it's just. But like, I enjoy the Souls game combat and gameplay enough that it keeps it up in there because it's a good execution of it. I do wonder if there will be any Souls games I actually put below B. I'm thinking possibly number 2 because I heard Dark Souls 2 is not that great. I don't know. It'll be a little time before I try any of those because the next one I'll probably play is Bloodborne. Oh, sorry. S is for Souls tier. And then last, all we have for December is the Resident Evil 2 remake. And that's another weird game to rank, because I don't know. It's another situation where I feel like it's not mid enough to be C. But I don't know. It might. It's like part of me doesn't want to put it in B, but everyone seems to be thinking it was a B game as well. I'm probably inclined to agree. Like, I don't know. Like, it was good. It wasn't as I haven't played number 4's remake yet. I think one thing that weighs down B, what brings it down into B a little bit more than maybe getting into A, is the fact that it's got the split stories, which is not bad if it wasn't for the fact that the stories contradict each other in different elements. It's not like, oh, while Leon is doing this, Claire is doing this. No, because Claire is doing things that Leon is doing in his playthrough at the same time, which is impossible. Like they do the same things in certain parts, and I don't vibe with that. I know it's more so meant not as a perfect recreation. I think they said the original did it better, but it's more meant to be a challenge. The second playthrough is more meant to be a challenge playthrough rather than like a story experience, I guess. I don't know. But honestly, looking at the year-end review here, if the worst games I've played for the year are just some mid Pokemon games, I think overall I did pretty well for playing some games with some taste and some class, I guess. Like, Platinum and Ultra Sun being the worst things I played this year is a lot better than having a year where I played a lot of garbage. Like, I didn't really think about what I had in here going in. So I think I'm pretty confident in where I placed everything. Pokemon is garbage. Well, see, Ultra Sun has some elements about it that bring it out of pure garbage. And while While Platinum has some elements at it that pull it into the garbage as more so what it is, I think, which is why Platinum is there. Because it was still in the golden age of Pokemon, but like it was it had elements of its decline in it, and I think it's just more so personal preference. I just was not a big fan of the Platinum world as much. Is this Animal Crossing? Oh no, this is Zelda. This is Inside a House is what the song is called. I don't know. I think most Pokemon games will usually end up getting mid-tiers from me personally. Like, except I think I could probably see elements of X and Y pulling it down into a D tier. Oh, you're probably hearing Animal Crossing from my nieces playing in the next room. Oh, they're back. Why does it hurt so much? It just suddenly started hurting today for no prompted reason, and it drives me mad. But I don't know. Good year, I guess. Good year. A day off, bro. I don't know, man. I didn't do anything yesterday but go see the Sonic movie, which was absolutely great, by the way. Though I spent a lot of time driving the day before. Like I spent like 9 or 10 hours driving, going down to Ohio to visit my grandmother, and then coming back. It was not a fun day. Maybe I don't really have a heating pad. I just don't know what's up with my back. Anyway, I guess that concludes the rankings for this year. I mean, not a whole lot to super talk about, I guess, but I don't know. I don't mind finishing this little bit of stream in like an hour. So I'll be So I'll be back in like a little bit. When we'll play some ukulele before we end for tonight. If you're not there for that, let me know if Saturday works as a good day to watch Bobobo, because didn't get to watch. We haven't watched Bobobo yet since the last stream we finished, last game we finished. So, yep, here is the rankings for the year, and you know, again, a year where I didn't play any bad games. It just means it's a year where I spent my time well and nice, I guess. I liked Kid Icarus too much in terms of its writing and its story and its characters to put it in mid. Like there's no way I could do it. Even though I hated the controls so much, there's no way I could do it that dirty. I definitely will take the L on just not clicking with the controls. But it did, but like I gotta be honest that it does hamper the enjoyment, but it doesn't hamper what I did like. Continue the stream. I just devolved Sora's mind into insanity. Alright, so if I don't see you for ukulele, then I'll see you guys on Saturday for the next installment of the Bobobo stream. So good night, and if I don't see you later tonight, Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye, everybody.